How we doing, Rams fans? Welcome into another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated, brought to you by the Fans First Sports Network. Today, we're going to be breaking down this Philadelphia Eagles defense, looking around the NFC West at a few injury reports, and there's some key injuries to one specific team that's going to play a huge role and might screw up my predictions from a few days ago that had them winning their ball game. I had all four NFC West teams. Well, no, it'd be three of the four, considering two are playing each other. But working out, so everybody's 6-5. We'll get to that in a minute. You can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCav30 on Twitter/X. Follow our insider pages at Rams Insider on SI, and then type into your search bar Rams Sports Illustrated, and you'll be able to find all of our content from all of our great writers. So this weekend, Sunday Night Football, it's Rams, Eagles. 5-5 are the Rams. They're tied up for second place along with three other teams in their division. It's the 6-4 Cardinals that lead the way. And the Rams will be taking on one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in football. Well, second hottest team in football. Lions have won more games in a row than the Eagles have. But Philadelphia, 6-game win streak. They started the season 2-2. Jalen Hurts looked meh. But in the last six, he has been incredible. One interception. He's rushed for a handful of touchdowns, thrown for a bunch as well. And Saquon Barkley, I mean, my goodness, he's had over 300 rushing games, and their defense is what we're really going to talk about today because they're the number one defense in the league. Overall, they're allowing 273.1 yards per game, which is the lowest total from any defense to this point in the season. When you look at their pass defense, they are allowing 173.2 yards, which is the second lowest total. Their run game, they're ranked 7th, still in the top 10. Giving up just under 100 yards per game at 99.9. So overall, I mean, you look at last year's Philly defense versus this year, it's night and day. And a big reason for that is their defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who's been a coordinator, a head coach ever since the late 90s in the NFL. He's been around the game for decades. So Vic's really got this group going. They got a bunch of new rookies in. They've added a few guys as well that have really, stepped up and been big for this team. And it says it in the stats. You hold a team to an average of under 175 passing yards per game, and they're not running for over 100 on you. It's tough to beat those teams. And, the Eagles are one of them, and they're playing some great football, not only on the offensive side, but more specifically defense. And we're going to break down a few of their guys today as well, both in the run and the pass game as well. But you look at it overall, they're very solid in all three aspects of total yards passing and rushing. And then when it comes to points per game, it's 17.9. They're under 20 points per game allowed. And in their 6-game win streak, they've held two of their opponents to under 7 points and averaging just about a little over 13 points per game allowed. So right now they're playing their best football and have really come out as one of the top picks in the NFC. They're currently the 2 seed behind Detroit. So looking at a few individual stat leaders for this team or for some certain statistics, Josh Sweat leads the way, 6 sacks on the year. The linebacker Sweat has just been incredible. He's got 16 tackles, and 6 of them have brought down the quarterback. He also has 7 tackles for loss, so he's in the backfield almost every single play. He does a really nice job on the blitz, able to read out the eyes as a spy sometimes against opposing quarterbacks. Has a couple pass deflections, no interceptions this year, but very, very impressive stuff from Sweat in another year with the Eagles. Also, Nolan Smith Jr. and Jalen Carter, they both have 3.5 sacks apiece. Smith Jr., he's a linebacker. Jalen Carter, top 5 pick a couple of years ago out of Georgia as a defensive lineman. He also has 7 tackles for loss this year and 4 pass deflections, which leads all linemen. Jalen Carter's a beast. And he's going to be causing issues all day for this offensive front for the Rams. They got to be able to bottle up Carter, who was on that front line, and then also guys like Nolan Smith Jr. and Josh Sweat, who are going to be rushing the passer heavily. When it comes to the secondary defense, we talked about them being the second best in the league. Quinyon Mitchell leads the way in pass deflections. He's a rookie out of Toledo. A couple guys that we're going to see at the cornerback position for this Eagles team that did not get to play against the Rams last year. It was a win for the Eagles at SoFi Stadium over the Rams, 23-14. Quinyon Mitchell, rookie, and also Cooper DeJean, rookie. 2 of those guys at the cornerback position going to be squaring up against the likes of Demarcus Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. But Mitchell hasn't intercepted a pass this year. Neither has DeJean, but the two are kind of wrecking balls when it comes to open field tackles. They really lay the wood. As I mentioned, 8 pass deflections for Quignon. Looking at DeJean, he's pretty solid up there when it comes to tackles as well. Doesn't have as many pass deflections this season. He's only got 3, but he also has half a sack and 18 total tackles. So both of those guys playing well. When you look at the other quarterback in Darius Slade Jr., he's been a veteran for the Eagles for a long time. 24 total tackles, 7 pass deflections. I mean, these guys, they don't pick off a ton of passes. When you look at their total, they've only had 7 interceptions. That's as much as the leading cornerback in the league, and Kirby Joseph for Detroit. So they don't really intercept a ton, but they are really good at knocking down passes, deflecting, and just staying hot in coverage when they're targeted. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's in his second stint with the Philadelphia Eagles, spent a year in Detroit last year, and then came back to the Eagles after he left in 2022. He's got 7 pass deflections. He's got 2 interceptions and 24 tackles. Gardner-Johnson, very stout. And then also Reed Blankenship might be the most impressive player in his 3rd season, another safety for this team. 38 total tackles, or 38 solo tackles, 60 total tackles, 5 pass deflections, leads the team with 3 picks. So if you're going to pick a guy off, if you're going to pick a quarterback off, it's going to be Reed Blankenship. A very, very talented guy in the backfield, lurking out the eyes of a quarterback and being able to snag that ball. Because, I mean, he's the team leader, and he seems to be in the mix almost every single time. So that's a breakdown of some of the players and then where this Eagles team as a group stacks up. We're going to move on to the NFC West and their injury report currently. Nothing really to report on from the Seahawks and the Cardinals who play each other this week. There's a couple guys on the offensive line, no extremely major injuries. Noah Fant is questionable. Also, Tyler Lockett, he hasn't been ruled out or in, but he was a limited participant in practice on Friday. So those 2 guys for the Eagles, something to watch for in the passing game, if they play or not, especially Lockett. He's, I mean, usually it's either him or Jackson Smith and Jigba that are the top 2 receivers on that team every single game. And Fant as well. If you can throw him in there, he's their top tight end. But really where the importance lies is in the San Francisco 49ers. They are not going to be with Nick Bosa, their best defensive player, and then also Brock Purdy, their starting quarterback. Purdy played their entire game last week in a loss at home to the Seahawks, had a pick, had a touchdown, did not come out of the game. He played the entire thing, but Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the Niners, talked about this week. He was feeling a little bit of soreness in his right throwing arm, and that has kept him out. He left practice early on Thursday, did not go to media availability that day, did not practice Friday, and they ruled him out today. So Brandon Allen, the 8th-year backup quarterback, spent the last 3 seasons in Cincinnati with the Bengals. He's in his first year with the Niners, and he's thrust into a big spot because these Niners are going on the road to Lambeau Field. It's going to be chilly, and taking on the Green Bay Packers that are a pretty darn good team at 7-3. And this is a game that the Niners need to win. I mean, they look good coming out of the bye. They become 5-4. You lose an uncharacteristic game to the Seahawks, who have not looked great this season. And now your backs are up against the wall, about to be under 500 at 5-6 if you can't get it done with your backup quarterback and without your best defensive player. So earlier in the week, I did predict that the Niners were going to go on the road and knock off the Packers. I don't feel so good about it anymore. Allen, the backup quarterback, he played in just 1 game last year in a backup role through 3 passes that went for -1 yards. I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback. He just doesn't have a lot of time on the field. And being able to, your entire season practicing daily in California, in San Francisco, then you got to travel cross country, change a couple time zones, go play in Wisconsin at Lambeau Field where it's probably going to be snowing. I don't know, man. That's a tough environment. And that's going to be tough to beat a Packer team that's been hungry, coming off an incredible win on a blocked field goal against the Chicago Bears last week. It's a tough spot. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's a huge blow for the Niners, losing both Bosa and Purdy. They got a couple other guys out as well, but Charvarius Ward, he's one of their secondary defenders. He's out as well. So, all those guys, it's a big, big miss for this team that is really trying to climb back in the NFC West and reach the expectations they set for themselves very early in this season because they are not playing to what they expected to start this season. That's going to do it for us here on the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. Once again, you can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCav30. We're going to have some more stuff prior to game day on Sunday afternoon and get you going. Final predictions for this big-time matchup on Sunday Night Football at SoFi Stadium between the 5-5 Rams and the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles on a 6-game win streak. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow on the Los Angeles Rams Pod on Sports Illustrated.